Hi guys, so I'm back, and I know it's been a while. I know I said before I was gonna be consistent, and I was lying, but I'm not lying anymore. I am gonna be consistent now. I'm gonna be posting every Tuesday because I'm gonna start off small and not try to post twice a week, only once a week. So I'll be here every Tuesday, I promise. But today we are going to be doing a wrap-up because obviously I haven't posted since January, so I'm going to be doing wrap-ups for January, February, and March, a quarterly wrap-up. I have read 18 books in the past 3 months, 6 each month. I usually read 6 books a month, so yeah, I'm gonna go through and show you. I have some of them, some of them I don't, so I'm going to go through all of these books. So the first book is Scarred by Emily McIntyre. I gave this book a 4 stars. I enjoy this book. This book is a reimagining, so it's not a retelling. And the difference between a reimagining and a retelling, it basically takes all the major plot points of whatever fairy tale it is, and then they just change little things about it. A reimagining is they're taking the little things from whatever fairy tale it is and then putting it in a book. And if you have watched Lion King and really like Lion King, you're going to get the references in this book. But if you have watched Lion King and just not crazy about it, or have never watched Lion King, you're not even gonna realize that it's in here. Like there's just certain things in this book. But I give this a 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really easy to read. I think I read this in like 3 days maybe. I don't know. I love The Lion King, so of course I wanted to read it. This is about, what's her name? Tristan Fossa, and then Sarah Bell. That's a different book I read. And then Sarah. And basically, Tristan and his brother kind of are the princes of this kingdom. And Tristan is the scarred prince. Basically, like Scar from The Lion King. He's the scarred prince. People kind of stray away from him. He's the bad one. Which, I mean, I guess they're not really lying. These books are definitely considered a form of dark romance. It's not the darkest you're gonna read, but it's not a fluffy romance. But I enjoyed this. It's definitely, I don't know if I would say it's enemies to lovers. They don't like each other at first. There's some attraction, but they don't like each other. I enjoyed it though, and I think you guys should read it. And I do want to read the other books in the series. They're on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll probably read them on there. But yeah, this is a 4-star first book of 2024. Next book is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. I gave Divine Rivals, I'm pretty sure I gave Divine Rivals 5 stars. I also gave Ruthless Vows 5 stars, which I think is actually quite surprising because a lot of people didn't like Ruthless Vows, which their reasoning, I guess I can understand. In Divine Rivals, the romance, it's a romantasy, it's young adult, and I can't really tell you much about this book because it is the second and last book in this duology, so I can't really tell you much about it. But in the first book, there was definitely a lot more romance than there was fantasy, and in this book, they're definitely focusing more on the war and the fantasy elements of it, and like the very high stakes part of the book, more than they did in the first book, where it was just basically the romance. And in this book, there's still some of that romance, but there's not as much romance as the first book. And I think that's what people were looking for in this book. That's what people wanted more of, and they just didn't get that. But I love a good plot. I love a good plot, and I love the plot in this book. I loved getting to know the world, getting to know about the war, and like going into that, so that's why I gave this a 5-star. Rebecca Ross writes beautifully, so I enjoyed this and I gave it 5 stars, and it was beautiful. Did I give it 5 stars? I think I gave it a 4.75. Maybe I'll bump it up to a 5. I loved it, so you guys should read it, but I can't really tell you much about it. But her writing's so easy, her writing's so beautiful, and this did not feel like a young adult at all. Did not feel like a young adult at all. So I would completely 100% recommend this series to everyone. I loved it. Next book I read was The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I gave it a 4-star. So I did really like this book. I enjoyed this book a lot more than I was expecting to enjoy this book. Not that I thought that it was going to be a bad book, but I just guess I didn't really expect to like it as much as I did. But I did like it. Here's one thing about me. This is a single parent trope. He is a single father. She ends up becoming the nanny for him. I love a single parent trope. Why? I think I know why. My mom for a long time was a single mom, and I really like the trope of having that single parent and then her or him finding someone that then loves them and their kids, because that's what happened with my mom and my stepdad. He came in and he treats us like we're his own children, and I love seeing that in books because I think it resembles my life very well. So I like the single parent trope. So in this book, Aiden, is that his name? Yeah, so Aiden and Cassie are the main characters in this book. Cassie, Miss Ma'am over here, has an OnlyFans, and Aiden was her top subscriber, you know, whatever. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they just, something happens, and she stops doing it altogether. And then he ends up needing a nanny, and she applies for the job because she wants to work with children. So she applies for the job, and here's the thing, they don't know, he doesn't know that it was her OnlyFans, and she doesn't know that he was her top supporter. Top fan? I don't know what it's called, but they don't know that. But I thought it was really cute. The reason why this didn't get a 5-star for me is because I feel like the smut talk was very cringy, and it made me like, I was like this reading it, and I just no, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. So yeah, that's why I did not give this a 5-star, but I would recommend it. So yeah, 4-star. Then I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and I was gonna do a reading vlog on this, and I started it and then I stopped. Yeah, I read this was still January, and I really liked this. I think I gave it a 4.5. Yes, I gave it a 4.5. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I love Garrett. I do. I love him. And I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but I do. And I really enjoyed this. I don't know why I didn't give it a 5 stars, but I still don't feel like it's 5-star. I do think it's really good. I do think out of the hockey romances I have read, this is probably at the top, one of the top. But yeah, I did enjoy it. And this was a 4.5 star. It is a hockey romance between Garrett and, what's her name? Hannah. It starts as like fake, well, not fake dating, and kinda. It's a hockey romance, and I feel like for a lot of people, all I have to say is that it's a hockey romance and they'll read it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked the storyline. I also just love a sports romance book, so I guess my opinion doesn't really matter because I'm very biased. But yeah, you should read it. Next was Room. I'll put it up here. I don't have this book anymore. I did not like it at all. I gave it a 2-star. I gave it a 1 star. So here's the thing. I watched Room, I want to say like close to 6 years ago. I think it was like 2019, like 5 to 6 years ago. It was a long time, and I really enjoyed the movie. I loved the movie, so I was like, I didn't know it was a book. Let me get the book. Let me read it. I got the book. I read the book. I hated the book. I just think that, I don't know, I couldn't get into it. Maybe it's because I watched the movie first and that was like influencing my thoughts on the book somehow. I don't know. I just know I didn't like it. I thought it was weird how much they talked about, how much the little boy talked about his private parts. I thought that was weird. I also thought that it was weird that this kid was like, he has all these elaborate ideas in his head, right? And then it's gonna be a spoiler, so I'm gonna put something on the screen so that you know it's a spoiler. But he literally executes this escape plan. Like they do this escape plan, but throughout the book he's made to be like so unintelligent, but he's so smart. But throughout the book, before we get to that part, he's made to be so unintelligent. It just didn't make sense to me. The math didn't math, and I didn't understand. So it was a 1 star. But if you guys are planning on rating it, don't let my rating stray you, okay? Maybe you will enjoy it. It wasn't my cup of tea. So that leads us to the next book, which is Curse of the Wolf King by Sonia Odette. This is a fairy tale retelling, and it's Beauty and the Beast. Fun fact, I've never watched, like, I started to read this book and I was like, maybe I should watch Beauty and the Beast so that I like know what this is based off of, because I had never watched Beauty and the Beast. I watched Beauty and the Beast right before starting this. First of all, Gaston is not cute enough to be acting the way that he acts, but whatever. I liked this. I think I gave it a 4-star. I did give it a 4-star. And I mean, I liked it. It was nice. I mean, that's all I really gotta say. I would reread this at some point. Like, I enjoyed it enough that I would reread it. So yeah, but I've noticed that I do like that fantastical elements in books. I think I'm a fantasy girly, guys. I think I'm a fantasy girly. But yeah, this was good. You guys should read it. I don't really know what to say about it. It's Beauty and the Beast. If you like Beauty and the Beast, read it. Next was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This also has a story behind it, why I started this series. Years ago, like super long ago, I watched Shadowhunters like 3 times all the way through. Love that show. I can't say that, that's a spoiler. Love the show. And so I watched it, and then literally in like December I saw that they had, like, I was like looking up the actors in that show, because I was like, let's see what else they've acted in, right? So I went on Matthew Daddario, who plays Alec, and so I went on his, and they were like, oh, he played Alec Lightwood in the show Shadowhunters, based off the Mortal Instruments books by Cassandra Clare. And I was like, based off of the books? What do you mean? I'm a reader. I always read the book before I watch the show or the movie. Like, I always do that. I'm a reader. And I didn't know that. So then I bought the entire series, because I was like, if I like the show, of course I'm gonna like the books. But here's the thing, the books are very different from the show. But I like the books. I eat the books up. I really do. So I give this book a 4.75 stars. The only reason, okay, in this book we are following Clary, who basically finds out that she is a shadow hunter. And a shadow hunter, basically, there's shadow hunters, there's werewolves, there's vampires, there's all of that. And the shadow hunters have these abilities, and she's one of them. they're like the good people. They're like, oh, bow down to them. The shadow hunters are the people to be in this world, right? So Clary finds out she's a shadow hunter. She's like 16 at this point, like 15 or 16. And so she lived all her life as a mundane. That's what they call us normal people. We're mundanes. And so she lived her entire life as one, and then her mom is like kidnapped, and then that's how she finds out. And she's kidnapped by like a demon. So that's how she finds out that she's a shadow hunter. And that's basically, we're basically figuring out with her that she's a shadow hunter, and help, like, going with her as she navigates her life now being a shadow hunter, because this is all very new to her. And in this book, she's very annoying, but she's very annoying because she doesn't know what's happening. So in my opinion, while she was like, yes, she was annoying, but I can completely understand why she was acting the way she's acting. Like, her entire life just flipped upside down. So I completely understand why she was acting like this and why she was acting the way she acted. I love Jace. I do. I love Jace. And I feel like Alec was not this mean in the show. I feel like he's meaner in the books than he is in the show. I don't know if that's just me, but that's how I feel. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I'm really excited to continue out the series. I read another book. I read the second book in March, so was it March? Maybe it was February. I read the second book at another time. It'll also be in this video, but oh my gosh, if you guys like paranormal stuff, fantasy stuff, please read it. I do have to warn you, though. It is a bit of a spoiler, but I do have to warn you because it's something that people don't like, and I completely understand why. There is the last 40-50 pages of this book does have some intended incest. So yeah, but I'm gonna tell you now. It's a spoiler, but I feel like it's not too no, nope. That's all I'm gonna say. If you guys don't want to read about that, which I completely understand why, maybe don't pick up this book. But it's so much more than that. So like, you should. So read it. Next, I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. If you guys don't know, Riley Sager, oh my gosh, I love everything this man writes. Love. This was a 5-star. Basically, we're following Kit. Is that her name? Yeah, we're following Kit, and she's like a nurse. And she goes to people's houses and she takes care of them. Like, she's like a live-in nurse. So she takes care of them, and she has to take care of Lenora Hope. And Lenora has been said to have killed her entire family. Yeah. Because her entire family got killed, and she was the only one left. Like, as the title says, she was the only one left. And now Kit has to go take care of Lenora, and Lenora's gonna tell her story. And it was so good. I didn't expect the twist, because there was multiple twists about this book, and I didn't guess not a single one. And Riley Sager always does that to me. I feel so dumb reading his books, but like in the best way possible, like I feel so dumb in the best way possible. This was a 5 stars. I don't want to tell you any more because it's a thriller, and I feel like with Riley Sager's books, particularly, especially, you need to go to his books blind, because you masterpiece. Please read it. Then I read, oh, by the way, we're in February now. City of Bones was February 14th. I finished this and started this on the same day. I read Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This was a 5 stars. This was probably the easiest 5 stars that I've ever given, because this was such a refreshing romance. It was so refreshing. Like, I don't think I've ever read about a relationship as healthy as this one. And that's surprising because the situation they were put in, the communication. If you know me, you know I hate the miscommunication. I hate miscommunication in real life and in books. So when I read about miscommunication, oh, it really just irks me. It really makes me upset. So the fact that they were having actual conversations, like the grown people that like the grown adults that they are, that's all I can ask for in a book. That's all I can ask for is people to be grown and have conversations. Because yes. So basically this book is a romance, and we are following Win and Bo. Following Win and Bo. They had a one night stand at a little Halloween party, and Miss Win ends up pregnant. And Bo said, well, of course I have to step up, and step up he did. Step up he did. And I just love it. I'm not gonna tell you anything else because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it was so good. I strive to have a healthy relationship like them where you can just communicate because it's beautiful. Easy 5 stars. Please read. You will love it. I loved it. It was so good. Next, I read, another 5 star. The books I was reading this month, so good, was Carrie Soto's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really did enjoy this book. I give this book a 5 stars as well. This book made me want to go out and play tennis. I love the little sprinkle of romance. Oh, it was so good. It made me want to watch tennis, want to go out and play tennis. I don't know how to play tennis. I played tennis in gym class and suck. But this made me want to go out and play tennis. It sure did. It was so good. We are following Carrie Soto. She was a retired tennis player, and then someone broke her record, having the most wins, and she was like, oh no, we can't have that. So Miss Ma'am came out of retirement she's older. She's an older lady. She came out of retirement. She was like, you are not taking my record, okay? She was like, you're not doing it. So she came out of retirement so that she can beat her record. And I just feel like I love it. The ending of the book, I love. I feel like this was just a masterpiece. And I've loved every Taylor Jenkins Reid books. I think every book has gotten at least a 4.5. And this was a 5. This and Malibu Rising, top of my list. I loved it. Please read it. Even if you know nothing about tennis. I know nothing about tennis. So good. Next book I read is Flawless. I started the Chestnut Spring series. Yes, I know. Everybody has read it, and I started it in February. So, Flawless was the first book. I gave this a 4 star. And so, I really liked this book. But I feel like this book was very physical. Like, I didn't really get any emotional wanting from them. Like, I feel like the relationship was purely physical. And I mean, like, I guess based on how it started, it makes sense. But yeah, I think seeing Rhett and Summer, the 2 main characters, in the other 2 books that I've read in the series, it definitely helps to make me believe that it's definitely there's something emotional in their relationship, and it's not just pure physicality. But yeah, I gave it a 4 stars. I did enjoy it. It wasn't bad at all. It was very easy to read. I did enjoy it. It just, yeah. Next I read The Vanishing Half. I did have this book. I did unhaul it. It wasn't bad. I gave it a 3.5 stars. But I just know I'm never going to reread the book. I'm just never going to reread it, so there was no reason for keeping it. This book is a historical fiction, and it takes place on 2 twins. And one is named Desiree, one's named Stella, and they are very light. We have these 2 twins who we're seeing their lives, and then we're also seeing one of the twins' daughters' lives. So these 2 twins come from a town, I forgot, Mallard, and they come from this town, and basically this town it's very colorist. It's extremely colorist. And basically they want these people to be, they want them to be light skinned. And so these girls run away, and at first they were sticking together, and then all of a sudden Stella leaves, and we then get Stella's point of view. And we have one sister, Desiree, who has a daughter. She's very dark skinned. They go back to Mallard. Obviously there's some thoughts there because her daughter is a dark skinned girl. And then we have Stella, who is passing as white. And then we just follow their stories. And we also follow Jude, Desiree's daughter. I personally like Jude's point of view and Jude's chapters more than I liked Stella and Desiree's, but I still enjoyed the book. But I just know I'm never going to reread it. But if you guys want to read it, I would encourage it. It was a good book. I just won't reread it. Next, I read Heartless by Elsie Silver, which is the second book, which I think is going to be my favorite. Single dad trope. Luke carried the book. Luke carried the book. I don't care what anyone says. He carried the book. He the best kid in any book that I've ever read. I loved him. Luke made that book for me. If we didn't get any Luke scenes, the book probably wouldn't be a 4.5 stars like I gave it. But oh my gosh, I loved it. I also felt like Cade and Willa's relationship was emotional. Like they had emotion. It wasn't just all physical. And I love that. I love it. I love a book that makes me feel, and that book made me feel. I loved it. And it was Luke. He's so cute. He's the cutest little boy ever. So yeah, there's that. Give it a 4.5 stars. Next, I read another book on Kindle, which was The Night Shift by Annie Crown. Okay, so I've heard so many things about this book. People are like, oh my gosh, it was such insta love. Which I can't deny. It was insta love. But it also says that on the back of the book. Like, on the back of the book, the synopsis literally says that they meet in a library and then they make out. That's literally insta love. It literally says it on the back of the book. What do you mean what do you mean? Oh my gosh, I hated that it was insta love. It said it was gonna be. It did say it was gonna be, guys. It did say that. But yeah, it was insta love, but I loved it. And it was a basketball romance, which is I feel like it's so hard to find other sports romances other than freaking hockey. And so I saw the basketball romance. Now, I'm not gonna lie. There was no basketball in there. Like, there wasn't, like, they didn't go to a basketball game. Nothing. But I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the talk of other sports other than hockey. It was cute. I enjoyed it. And I really want to read more of her books. But that's the only book that she has published. So whenever she comes out with another book, I'll read it. And I gave it a 5 star. I did give it 5 stars. So leave me alone. And then next book was Behind the Net. I also read this on Kindle. And I gave this a 3 star. Everybody loves this book. Literally loves this book, and I'm genuinely confused because I'm like, am I reading the same book that everybody else is reading? Like, I don't know. I really did. I didn't like it, and like, people swear to this book, and I'm just like, why? Because they're like, oh my gosh, there was so much emotion. I didn't get this sense at all. They couldn't keep their clothes on. A relationship is not all just sex. It's not. Like, you guys have to have a conversation at one point. They literally could not have a conversation with each other. Every time they tried to have a conversation with each other, they ended up naked. So I genuinely don't understand when people are like, oh my gosh, there was so much emotion, because I literally felt like there was 0 emotion between these two. Like, I feel like if there was no smut scenes, the book would be 100 pages. Like, I don't know. I don't get what everybody's saying, and like try and convince me in the comments, because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm missing something. Yes, they did have a pass, but like I don't know. I don't get it. Daisy saved that book for me. She was cute. I'm a dog lover. Loved her, but like I don't know. I don't. Maybe I feel like I literally feel like I was reading a completely different book than everybody else was reading, and I just don't know. But I don't know. Try and convince me in the comments. I think I'm gonna read the second book, but I just was not a fan of that one. Next book is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. You guys have probably been seeing all these stickers. I personally don't mind stickers in my books, but if you guys mind, I apologize, I guess. But The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I have read at this point 4 Riley Sager books, and this is probably my least favorite out of his books. But it was still a 4.5. So that's saying a lot, because every other book I have read by him got a 5 stars. This got a 4.5. What did I say? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So what I said about this book is it took me like 65 pages to get into this book, and this book is not a long book. Like, the book is like 350 pages maybe, and like it took me like a whole 65 pages to get into this book, and that is rare for a Riley Sager book, because I can usually jump right into this book and be like hooked from the beginning. In this book, I just was not. I was just like, I don't know. I like wasn't feeling it. But then when I got into it, I was into it. And I really liked it. I feel like, what did I say? I said the only reason why this isn't a 5-star book is because of how long it took me to actually get into this book, which was a whole 65 pages. That's a lot for me when it comes to Riley Sager. I will say, though, that when I got into the book, I got into it. I'm talking about eating it up. I felt so stupid reading this book in the best way possible, which is very similar to how I feel with all of his books. I think when I read all of his books, I always say that I feel stupid reading them, but in the best way, because, like, I don't want to read a book and have me predict everything that's going to happen. Mate, yes, I don't want to. So his books make me feel stupid, and I like that in a thriller. So I said, this is probably my least favorite book of his so far, but it was still so good. Still read it. And I said, by the way, the ending was actually insane. I didn't see it coming, but then again, would I ever see anything coming in Riley Sager books? Anyway, read this. You heard me. Anyway, read this. Next, I read ASAP by Axio. If you read my end of the year book tag, no. Wrong word. If you watched my end of the year book tag, I talked about XOXO by Axio. Oh, I love that book. That book will forever be in my heart. I think about those characters, and she recently came out with the second book, and I think it's the last book in the series, ASAP. Oh my goodness, I loved it more than I liked XOXO. But like, I gave XOXO a 5 stars. What am I supposed to give ASAP? A 6 stars? Yes, it's a 6 star. Oh my gosh, it was so good. We're following Minsori. We're following Nathaniel Lee. And basically, Minsori is the daughter of the CEO of, what is it called? I forget the name of the entertainment, like the company that they're all at, and the company that XOXO is under. And Nathaniel is one of the members of XOXO, as we have learned in the first book. Oh my goodness, it is a second chance romance. As we know in the first book, Nathaniel and Sori had a little relationship at one point, and then it became a scandal, and they had to break up. And this is a second chance romance. Oh my goodness, I ate it all the way up. Oh my gosh, Axio really knows how to write a book, and I'm gonna literally sit here and read all of her books, because girl, she knows how to write a book. She really does. I loved it so much, and I can't, Like, I can't wait until it comes out in paperback so that I can buy it and have it and annotate it. And oh my goodness. And I DM'd her and she responded to me, guys. She responded to me and I was like, oh my gosh. Did she really just respond to me? She really did respond to me, guys. I wanted to scream, but I'm not that dramatic anymore. But oh my gosh. Anyways, yes, 5 stars. Go read it. We will have no Minsori slander on this channel. Anyways, last book of this video. This is a long video. Oh my gosh. It's a long video. What was I expecting though? The last book is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, the second book in the Mortal Instruments series. I gave this book a 4-star. I did. It was really good, but there's 2 specific reasons in this book why it wasn't a 4-star. I mean, why it wasn't a 5-star. Let's talk about the good things first. I loved all the action. Loved it. I love a good action. I love action. I love a good action. I don't think that's the right word. I love action in fantasy books because is it a fantasy book if there's no action? If there's no climax? Like, no, it's not. And I love that. I loved it in this book. There was so much happening in this book and I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. It was amazing. And the reason why I didn't like this book, I don't want to tell you anything about what happens in this book because it is the second book of the series and I will spoil things for you and I'm not doing that. I would never. But the reason why I didn't like this book is because we had so much of Simon and Clary and I don't like Simon. Something about him just gives me the ache, like the major ache, and I'm just like, get him off the page right now. Get him off. I don't like Simon. I haven't liked him from the first book. I haven't liked him from the first page. Like, I did not like Simon, and I still don't like Simon, and I didn't like Simon in the show. Some things never change. I don't like him. I don't like him at all, and no. Like, just no, I don't like him. So that's why the book is not a 5-star, because he was in it so much and he made me upset, and he just like, and the situation with him and Clary made me upset, and I was just like, just end the book already. So that's why it's not a 5-star, because he was in the book so much. But if you guys like Simon, you guys will probably like this book. But if you guys like Simon, then whatever. But yeah, this was really good. There's so much action, and that's what saved the book for me. And I just love Jace. I just love Jace. Even though in this book he did, like, some of his actions definitely made me upset in this book, but not as upset as Simon and Clary made me. So yes, I am choosing sides. I am Team Jace. I am Team Jace. And also Malik, if you guys know what that is, you guys know. If you don't, you guys are gonna have to read the books and find out. Love them also. But yeah, that is the last book of this video, and that is the 18 books that I have read in the past 3 months. Isn't that crazy? The fact that I can read 6 books in a month is actually insane. So yeah, that's the end of this video. If you guys have read any of these books, please tell me how you guys have felt about this book. Also, please try and convince me that Behind the Net is a good book in the comments, because I want to see why people really like these books. Like, I want to see why people love Behind the Net, because I just didn't understand it. But maybe if you guys could, like, explain it to me, maybe then I'll understand it, and maybe I'll try to reread it. But yes, that is the end of this video. I will see you guys next Tuesday. I promise I will be back with another video. Bye. Oh, and like and subscribe too.